In this week's episode of Weaponized,
Let's say there's a document that has been referenced in some reports.
Michael Schellenberger has said there's a 20-something page document.
Let's say there's a document.
Let's be honest with our audience. You have been exposed to the entirety of the document. Is that correct?
All right. Yeah, I've seen it.
From the very get-go, we have been in the know that we have been trying to exploit derivative technologies of UAP. Is that factual from where you're sitting?
Yeah.
Okay. I am directly aware of the totality of this report and information being in person given to certain members, I'm not saying of Congress or Senate, certain members, and that I was present.
Now that it's out, how can it possibly, how can anyone hope to quash the story?
Okay, I need to crack a beer. Okay. Because we're right now, you have now brought up
That's where it was
risk
leading.
and threats.
Yeah.
Okay. You are asking me, and I'm sorry, I feel like a robot right now, but I have been on guard.
This is our insurance policy right here.
Okay. I've been notified of very specific and direct and detailed threats against my life, as well as against anybody who may have information, assets, or contact with additional whistleblowers or individuals who are aware of this program. So much so that I have taken action through law enforcement.
Do you have in place what you might call a dead switch, a system whereby information about this and other matters that we've collected over the years would be disseminated if something were to happen?
Okay, I will not mince words. We have had in place for quite some time, unrelated to this story of Immaculate Constellation, that if you or I are removed from the equation, that you have absolute, uncontrolled, catastrophic disclosure of information that would be dangerous to the United States of America, that would be dangerous to global policy, that would be dangerous in many ways. And it benefits everybody to not fuck with journalists doing their job and sanitizing information prior to the good of public knowledge with no harm to the United States of America, putting it out.
Secrets, cover-ups, and strange phenomena.
UFOs and ideas that challenge reality itself. All these mysteries, all this time. Are we ever going to get to the bottom of these?
My name is George Knapp. I dig into news stories that others can't or won't.
I'm Jeremy Corbell, and for some reason, people tell me things they probably shouldn't. And this is Weaponized.
This is Weaponized. We're coming to you from the House of the Rising Sun. That's what it looks like. This brothel where Jeremy hangs out. Is that where we are?
Oh, man. I mean, the whole world is against me. Why you got to do that? But yeah, this is a great hotel, great room. I love this. It looks like The Shining or something weird. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And I thought maybe we could bring our viewers and listeners up to date on congressional interest in UAPs, because a lot of folks message us all the time on when's the hearing, why was it delayed, what's going on. And heck, there's a lot going on in the world for members of Congress who've been sort of driving this train. The people that we have talked to before. You were back there in Congress a couple of weeks ago and were in the offices of the people who are directly involved in this. What was the reason for the delay of the hearing into November?
I just want to be a little bit careful. What was the reason for the delay in the hearing? I think common sense. I think that there's a lot going on in the world. I think very quickly people realized, wait a second, we have a real opportunity. We've been given information, whether it be new or just a discovery as if it was new. And I know you've... So what I think is, common sense said, with the state of the world and everything that's going on, and with this information, we have a chance to do this a little better, just give it a little bit more time. And I think that was the core reason. And also, we want to make sure that everybody's available at the times to testify. So I'm going to be really honest. I have to be very cautious with my words right now, and not about the hearings. And you know why?
Yeah.
And so I just, sorry for that candor, but that is the reason. I think that minds decided it was good to take serious what we're doing.
I think it's fortuitous that they put it off until after the election. Every member of the House is up for re-election.
Yeah.
A third of the members of the Senate are up for re-election. They're worried about who's going to be president. There's a lot to focus on. In addition, I mean, the real world got involved this past week, the past 2 weeks, with hurricanes, and you look at the key members in the House who've been driving this UFO UAP train, Representative Luna, Gates,
Yes.
Moskowitz,
Yes.
Burchett,
Yes.
all of their districts got pummeled by Hurricane Helene, and now by the latest hurricane as well. So they've got a lot on their plates.
Yeah. If it takes a hurricane to slow down a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world. I hear about it from other people like you, and I do understand. So I think that it's fortuitous. Like, I think it's really good. Everybody's kind of like slowing down. November 13th is the date of the upcoming UFO hearing. It would take a lot to change that, but also people need to be protected before that.
The public demands. We see it every day on social media. Well, you don't because you're not there. But
I am. I want to be clear. I am there. And people text me the gnarliest shit every day.
Yeah.
I say, Jeremy, did you see this?
Yeah.
Like friends and family. And I'm not.
I was kidding.
I know, but I want people to know I do care what people say. I do listen to what people say online. I just don't seek out trauma.
You don't engage with it necessarily back and forth.
Yeah, if you look up how many times I've said other people's name in vain, anybody, it'll be 0.
I mean about the nature of engagement with the public, the UFO public on social media. They're angry, they're upset, they're impatient. We want this, that, we want this witness. This is the kind of information we want, and they're not going to settle for anything less. You've been speaking with congressional members and with congressional staff about the nature of the hearings. Do you think that the public will be satisfied with what they end up with in terms of witnesses?
I don't know specifically what the public is saying on X, but keep it up, X, keep it up, put pressure on. I don't know what people are saying. I would say I am not aiming at satisfying anybody other than I am aiming to do my duty to make sure that people testify who need to be heard from.
A 2-word program popped up in international media in the past couple of days. And there's a lot of speculation about who knew what and when. Can you walk us through how far back you heard about the nature of that program, how far back you heard the name of that program, and how legit the information is, in particular, this one whistleblower has been mentioned?
The short answer is fuck no. But I will say that information will continue to come out about Immaculate Constellation. I think there are smarter people than me that will be able to hyper analyze things that you've told me about, that people are looking at, like when people look that up on Google and all that stuff. And I also promise that I will tell everything that I can, that you and I know as time goes on. But right now, I would say this is what I can say. Michael Schellenberger, who I have never spoken with before, got it right. What he reported is 100% accurate. Look at what he reported, and I'm verifying that is 100% accurate, meaning what he reported was accurate, but you got to read what he reported. Seems like a hell of a guy. Like really, after that came out, just like basically an emoji, like that guy did good, but I've never talked with him. So he's independently doing his thing. I would say people should pay attention to what Michael Schellenberger reported on. And I think we're all in for a treat to, as you say, get out your knives and dissect. Like, let's see.
I know part of what accompanied Schellenberger's story was an image that we know pretty well.
Oh, yes.
What we called the Mosul Orb.
Bam.
I think he inaccurately attributed that to Arrow.
Right.
What's the story on that?
That was not his fault. Look, so everything in his article was accurate. That was one point that was inaccurate, which he quickly fixed. It said that Arrow had produced that image of the Mosul orb. So let's be very clear. You and I and he immediately corrected that. Again, he seems like a very straightforward person. So the Mosul orb is an image that you and I decided to release to the public. We have always said that image is from a FMV video, a full motion video. Full motion video is a certain type of reconnaissance technology, and people can look that up, but it's very cool. And in the article, he originally, under the image, I'm really glad he put that image there. It's actually very important that he did. But that image, which was from 2016, so prior to what would have been what we now know as Immaculate Constellation, or what we've heard about. But that image is very important. And we gave a chance to Arrow, you and I gave a chance to Arrow to put out the video. We've called to action. They put out the video, we said, be transparent, get it out there. Every time we put out something, Arrow comes out with some other thing, that visual imagery. And even before Arrow, when Bray and, what's his name? Bray and the other guy were up there in the first hearing and doing the whole sleight of hand thing. Every time, Bray and Moultrie, every time we come out with something, there's some weird, ironic thing that's put out. So Arrow did not put that out. They've never put out an image of that footage. They've never put out the video from that footage.
Something that looks sort of like it.
So exactly. And so here's the point. We put that out. And we did that knowingly, but giving a chance to Arrow as a representative of the DoD to put it out, and they never did. So so people picked up on that real quick. And it was just simply like, it's important to say, independent journalists put that out. Arrow never did, and they could have. And so anyway, he fixed that super quick, and I respect him very much.
The nature of why it fits with his story, even though it doesn't quite fit in the timeline,
right,
is because the program that he described, that he had sources that
should have had that
with him. It could have been in there. It should have been in there if it had been in existence at the time that image was captured. But it fits into the parameters of the program that he describes, is that this Immaculate Constellation uses a lot of different kind of platforms to collect UFO, USO, UAP type imagery and collates it into one place. Is that right?
Yeah, both passive and active. And so this is public. So if this program is as appears and described to the public, one of the primary missions of this program would be to acquire, both actively and passively, imagery from all sensor platforms in all domain. So we're talking about satellites to underwater sensors to land-based sensors to aerial sensors to space sensors, right? Basically capturing UAP, but I'm going to caveat that. UAP that is known to be not from any technologically advanced nation on Earth that is known to us at this time, which people call NHI, non-human intelligence. And the program was to acquire imagery of how other nations may have reverse engineered from NHI technology, human technology. The program had zero to do, as far as data collection, no mention of legacy U.S. or even current U.S. programs of any reverse engineering, full stop. That's how I understand it right now. If I'm wrong. So do you understand? So the difference? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say there's a program that broad across all the different platforms that gather information from space, from in the sky, drones, things of that sort. That's a lot of different agencies, different departments, things of that sort. A lot of people would be involved. So this program, as described by Schellenberger in his article and what you've shared with me, is a USAP, an
unacknowledged
special access program. For something that broad, wouldn't you need something acknowledged? At least it goes into, with that many people, it's not a silo. It's not a restricted program. There's a lot of people that have to know that exists.
Oddly, no. And that's what's interesting. So you can have a USAP, unacknowledged special access program, that acquires data and analyzes it from a broad spectrum, from Air Force to Navy to Army to satellite to underwater to drones. If there are archives of UAP information, you would then collate that, analyze it, focus it, reduce it, get it down, and then get that into the eyes of people in the USAP, in the unacknowledged
So
disclosure.
take the cream off the top. That's what goes into the USAP.
It's possible, but there was more going on in that USAP allegedly than just total reconnaissance, right? There was material transfer implications, if I recall. There were things like that. So what I'm saying is, let the world get out their knives and dissect. I am not going to sit here and spill any beans.
So a couple of points that I would raise, questions. There's a whistleblower who seems to be a primary source in this. I don't know if that person has been in contact with Schellenberger. I don't know if that person.
Schellenberger said that he had been in physical contact.
So it boils down to one person. Is there more than that?
No, it's not one person. If you had a USAP, there would obviously be a number of people. I would imagine, and I think it has been said publicly, that people can have accidental exposure to a USAP. So I would imagine from there that you're saying, I'm not, that there is a whistleblower. Okay, that may be true. There may be publicly stated that there is a human being, a person. No, I'm not saying male, not saying female, not saying what department, not saying inside government, not saying contractor. Sure, we can all deduce that from what was reported by Michael Schellenberger. No problem. You're asking me directly, are there more people that may be able to back up that information? I am telling you directly, and I don't need to tell you that, but I am telling you directly, that yes, there are, but that is not for you or me to talk about, right? So it's just like, okay, you've got one person that is public, that obviously has talked with Schellenberger, a person, and that is true information. That is accurate information. Now, we will find out. Is this program real? Are there other people involved? Now, I will tell you from my experience, there was knowledge of this program way beyond a whistleblower who ended up going through a very unique process to get that information out, for sure. It's not a foreign topic to you and me.
Are you aware of how much information about this program has been shared with members of Congress? For example, Schellenberger's article has obviously been read on Capitol Hill by a lot of these people, especially the names that we mentioned who are interested in this subject. But are you aware of additional information that has been shared directly with members of Congress and or senior staff members?
Yes. I think it is factually and important for me to say that I am directly aware of the totality of this report and information being in person given to certain members. I'm not saying of Congress or Senate, certain members, and that I was present.
Oh, you're present?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Okay, so the indictments will be delivered to your house.
There's nothing I did wrong. There's nothing I did wrong. No. I don't know if we're going to leave this in the footage, but you're asking me, am I aware of that statement? I saw that statement. Michael Schellenberger said that members of Congress are made aware. That is 100% true, and I can testify to it under oath in the court of law because I was fucking there.
So according to Michael's article, there is a central whistleblower. According to you, there are more than one source of this information.
Yes.
According to the two of you, information has been shared with members of Congress.
Yes.
And it appears for now that this is real, that it's real. That it was.
For now. For now.
For now.
Yeah.
And do you have a sense of whether the people on the Hill who've seen this information are motivated, are highly interested? Are they asking tough questions?
I decline to comment.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So let's say there's a document that has been referenced in some reports.
Michael Schellenberger has said there's a 20-something page document.
Let's say there's a document. I believe that it includes three interesting letters, ARV. So that, for me, as a longtime UFO guy, raises red flags. ARV, alien replication vehicle, something like that. Supposedly a vehicle that we have built based on recovered alien technology. that's been raised in some fairly questionable corners of ufology over the years. And I can never tell whether that's disinformation, whether it's a red flag, whether it's thrown out as bait. Do you have a sense of how real that is?
Let's be honest with our audience. You have been exposed to the entirety of the document. Is that correct?
All right. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that said, you have been exposed to the entirety of the report, as they're calling it, right? From an individual.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So from that point, let's move forward on two things. From the very get-go, we have been in the know that we have been trying to exploit derivative technologies of UAP. Is that factual from where you're sitting?
Yeah.
Okay. We have also heard that we have not made extreme progress, but that could be true, not true, correct?
Right.
Okay. Do you believe those two statements to be true?
Yeah. Relatively. Yeah.
Relatively?
Yeah.
Explain
I
that.
don't know how much progress we made.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know. But those two things we're sure have happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I want you to tell me why you are alarmed by the term ARB, because I'm alarmed by it too, but tell me
because of the source where it came from.
Where did the source come from?
Some UFO people who are not entirely trustworthy.
Were the first persons ever to mention that term?
First persons I ever heard it from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at a point as journalists where we need to reverse engineer some of these terminologies. Now, it's possible that terminologies have been used in public spheres and then adopted by military spheres.
Yeah, I grant that.
Or even horrible people get good information from time to time is also possible, right?
Right.
Okay. So I don't know where we're going with this, but my point is you and I both have red flags based on the totality of the document that we have both consumed, correct?
Let's talk about that a little bit, because we have confidentially, we've received indications from people that we know and we trust who suggested there is risk in having this information. Okay. And I think Schellenberger has probably had the same thing. Is that risk real? And what is the risk? What's the nature of it? And now that it's out, how can it possibly, how can anyone hope to quash the story?
Okay. I need to crack a beer. Because we're right now, you have now brought up
that's where it was
risk
leading.
And threats.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not cutting this out of the episode. I'm just being honest. Like, let's just take a second, because obviously there's a lot George ain't saying. Playing dumb right. George playing dumb right now.
It's an interview. I'm a journalist trying to get information out of somebody who's been very reluctant to cough up this.
I feel like I'm being grilled by the FBI, and it's George Knapp. I don't really understand what's going on. No, just kidding. Okay, so let me just pour my beautiful Coors Light. Trying to keep my slim figure. Okay. If we're going to get into this, I need to you are asking me, and I'm sorry, I feel like a robot right now, but I have been on guard.
This is our insurance policy right here.
Okay.
Is there risk in mentioning the name of that program? Is there risk in reporting about it? Is there risk in even knowing information? Is there risk in admitting that you know more that has not been made public yet?
Yeah. So I think we just talk frankly, and then we go from there.
Maybe not.
No, I think we do record this, and then we go from there. So.
Have you had direct, put it this way, have you had direct communications with people in the intelligence world whom you trust, who've told you, hey, this is red hot, this is really risky, this is dangerous?
Yeah. I've been notified of very specific and direct and detailed threats against my life, as well as against anybody who may have information, assets, or contact with additional whistleblowers or individuals who are aware of this program. so much so that I have taken action through law enforcement to make sure that they are aware. And I did not put a lot of stock in it. And then I called 4 different people to advise me. And to my shock and awe, with actual knowledge of this program prior to it being announced, was told for me to take it 100% deadly seriously. And so let's really unpack that for 1 second. Give me a second to just say something. That program was outed by an independent journalist who has nothing to do with me. I've never talked to the guy prior to the release. And I actually haven't talked to him yet on the phone. It was done legally and lawfully, which people will understand, hopefully, on November 13th. I know for a fact that if you had talked about that program prior, that it would ping intelligence services. It is a real USAP from what I understand. And the last point to this is, I believe that people need to know that the cover-up of this, they don't color within the lines, and that people's lives are at risk. And right now, my job that you taught me is to protect sources and witnesses, even if they don't protect themselves. And you and I are doing that, and we will continue to do it.
Do you have in place what you might call a dead switch, a system whereby information about this and other matters that we've collected over the years would be disseminated if something were to happen?
Okay, I will not mince words. We have had in place for quite some time, unrelated to this story of Immaculate Constellation, that if you or I are removed from the equation, that you have absolute, uncontrolled, catastrophic disclosure of information that would be dangerous to the United States of America, that would be dangerous to global policy, that would be dangerous in many ways. And it benefits everybody to not fuck with journalists doing their job and sanitizing information prior to the good of public knowledge with no harm to the United States of America, putting it out. And so I want to be very clear. You're putting it on me because we're having a fun little game here. You and I have a dead man's switch. And it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 5.
Well put. Let me ask you this about the whistleblower. Whether or not you want to say on camera whether you've ever met with this person or know this person or know even the identity of the person, what their state of mind is right now. Now that it's out, the story is known, is somebody looking, I would imagine somebody is really looking for that person. If there is one person in particular, they got to be scared shitless.
This does not boil down to one person. Right. We have to get that out of everybody's head. Okay. It's not true. There is an individual that has been talked about and is a patriot and has been walked into offices, and Michael Schellenberger reported on. That is true. That is public. There you go. Other than that, I am not saying shit. And here's the reason. At this time, if people's names aren't leaked, if information isn't leaked, the world will learn about it on November 13th. There is a way in which the world is 100% no stopping it, gonna learn about it on November 13th for the congressional hearings. Now, there's a dramatic way that can happen and an undramatic way. If anybody were to fuck with witnesses or us or anybody involved, it's gonna be dramatic. And we don't want that. We want the information out. And if it's the dramatic way, then all of a sudden, other people coming forward too.
I never know what to make of threats. In nature of the business and journalism, you get threats sometimes all the time.
Eat it for breakfast.
Somebody calls you on the phone and they're going to threaten your life. How serious can it be? If they really want to kill you, do they give you a warning shot in advance? But there was an interesting little side story with this, the name of this program. After it came out, some of the detectives on social media, and a lot of those folks do some really good work.
They do great work.
They dig into looking for Google searches for that term.
Heard about
of where it's popped up before.
Yeah.
And it popped up when Dave Grush came forward. When he gave his testimony, suddenly the name of this immaculate program, there's a spike.
Immaculate Constellation.
Immaculate Constellation. There's a spike in Google requests under that term.
Wow.
Which is weird because Grush didn't mention it.
No, he didn't. But if I was sitting at Right Pat, I would be worried what that dude was going to say. And if you recall, we had to make sure that Chuck McCullough, former Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, the first ever Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, and for people that don't know, Inspector General is like the police of the intelligence community. So big baller Chuck McCullough.
We know him.
We know him very well.
Yeah.
So he was the lawyer to David Grush. And I remember this moment where I had to get very socially awkward, my wife said, where I had to be like, get out the way, get the fuck out the way. Although I did it kindly, because Chuck McCullough needed to sit behind David Grush so he could do what he did over and over, which is lean in and say, careful, Dave, careful, because everybody is looking for David Grush to speak outside of his DOPSR or his pre-publication agreement. I actually have been infiltrated by OSI, NSA, people from different agencies trying to get me to falsely say that in my conversations with David Grush, because he came to you and me first by leaning in, I got that point on film, that he has ever said anything outside of his pre-publication, which he hasn't, and they keep trying to get me and others to say he has. So Chuck McCullough needed to sit behind him because in the live moment, you know how it is. You're in a live moment. You're excited. You're scared, or maybe you're just amped up, and you just, what are you going to say? And I remember hearing Chuck lean in real quiet, like he's a baller. Chuck McCullough, he is a gangster, man. He just lean in and be like, careful, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
Careful. Do you remember that?
We're on the two sides of him. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
What a guy. We'd be lucky to have a lawyer like that. I mean, that guy is just amazing.
He's probably too expensive for us.
Yeah, but he's a baller. So check it out. This guy sitting behind Grush, leaning in and saying that. So the big picture is this. If I recall your kind of point, what you were saying, right now it's very real. And people don't understand that. There is a program the government has hid from Senate, from Congress, from the Gang of Eight. It's called Immaculate Constellation. And by the fucking way, that's just top of the pyramid, big piece of the pie chart. There's more up there, and there's a lot of constellations below. So I just want to say that that is a tiny thing. We are just talking about it right now because it's public, but there's a much bigger story to tell.
That program primarily involved with gathering imagery, not in the hands-on, let's say you had hardware, trying to take it apart, figure it out, rebuild something. That would be something else.
That would be something else that would absolutely have a different name, be a different task program with a different, what they call bigot list of people that were read in. Let's shoot back to the Wilson Davis memo because you know it's real, and you know that Eric Davis spoke with Admiral Wilson, and Admiral Wilson said he'd always deny that that was true, and to this day he denies it. Where did we give that publicly and vouch for it? That was to our pal Joe Rogan. If you go all the way back and rewind, we talked to him about it. I think I started when I was on with Lazar back in 2018. I could get that wrong. I have a bad memory, but I made sure to throw down and say that was real, the Wilson Davis memo. And when it was at a time when it was being questioned if it was real or not. We all know kind of now it was real. It is real. And will you please just finally tell people that that is an actual conversation that happened?
Yeah, it's real. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Eric Davis met with Admiral Thomas Wilson, had that conversation. It's real.
It's called the Wilson Memo. You can look it up. Admiral Wilson met with a scientist who's actually was featured in one of my films. Everybody has been debating whether or not this document of a conversation with a sitting admiral at the time is a real document. It's an actual conversation that happened, and this document is real. Everybody wants to know. The world is going crazy right now in the UFO world. I'll tell you straight up right now, I'm in the position to know, and it is a real document, that it is real. Admiral Thomas Wilson is lying like he said he would.
It's his job. He's supposed to do that.
Yeah, good for him. Protect national security. But it's true. Okay. So anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that, but basically here's the point. On November 13th, I don't pick who's going to be there. That's the big ballers, like the chair, like Nancy Mace, who's a gunslinger. I like her, right?
Yeah, she's tough.
She's tough. And I think that no matter who's testifying, it is the right thing. It is the right thing.
Here's the thing. It's all a bunch of nonsense because Elon Musk said, he came out this week and told Tucker Carlson, all these UFOs are advanced, secret U.S. technology. There it is. It's all out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Elon should know, right?
Okay. So, no, dude, I believe him when he says if he got evidence of aliens, he would put it out on Twitter. I fucking believe him. I believe him. He is so wild. I believe him. And God bless that. Like, you know, if you get evidence of aliens, like a perfect photo from your satellites, put it out. I think I believe him that he would do that. I don't believe for one fucking second that he is not more curious, and I'm not going to say anymore, but I believe for one second.
That seemed like gaslighting to me, that he was saying this is all this stuff. The pilots are seeing
your opinion.
Advanced.
Well,
my comment to him on X was, okay, well, great. That's great news.
Oh, you wrote in?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Said, great. That's great news. That's our technology. So when are we going to release that 2004 nifty Tic Tac technology? That'd be really kind of convenient to have that, wouldn't it? It's 20 years. 20 years coming up.
Yeah. So it's an argument that is so you're not in a position to know if you say so. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's gaslighting people. Anyway, let me recall something for everybody. When we walked in to talk with Joe, I think it was the last time the last time we were on. It was you and me. I was ready to talk with him about how long the UFO thing has been going on, why this is not just our tech. I was like thinking all these things, man. I've heard him say some things saying that he thinks it's just our stuff. Look, there might be fuckery in the UFO, disclosure thing going on for sure. There might be fuckery. You and I are like worried about fuckery. However, I was going to go at him with like, hey, here's the reasons why this is just not our tech. I think it was almost opening line after he said one thing about us being the swashbucklers or the pioneers or the three musketeers or something of UFO disclosure. I don't remember what he said, but he shocked me. I think it was when we were together. It might have been on the time when I was before. He says, something like this can't be all ours because it's been here a long time. It's like he read my fucking mind.
Yeah.
So your point is the UFO thing has been going on a long time. Let me just remind people about Edward Snowden. And I'm not making any opinion on what he did or the morality of it, but here is what I'm saying. He did say that he found no evidence of UFOs in this huge data leak of uncontrolled information. Well, if he had access, he would have found out about the program you reported on called OSAP, Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Applications Program. And he didn't,
right?
Which means not all archives are equal, right?
It's siloed.
There we go.
I would just put it this way, too, with Elon Musk, giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let's put him in a category. He has billions of dollars worth of contracts with the Department of Defense, with NASA. Yeah. Let's say he's on a par with Admiral Wilson, and he knows stuff and is required to lie about it.
Yeah.
Just food for thought.
Oh, sure. I don't know. I have no, but I will tell you this, that I know 100% sure about Elon Musk. He makes the coolest motherfucking UFO on planet Earth. I have a Cybertruck. I got a Cybertruck, the first in my county. It's the craziest thing. I've had it almost a year. I'm on auto drive now. You were riding it today. You push a button and you monitor. You make sure it doesn't crash. Holy shit, that dude can make cars because that thing is so fucking wild.
Seems like an odd route. You know where you're going, Jeremy?
No, I have no. My name is Jeremy Corbell. I have no idea where we're going because I'm not fucking driving. And I think we're going to a kill spot for the CIA, a wet work spot, because there's a car tailing us, and I'm not driving, and I've never gone this way in my life. Oh, it's good. It's putting on a right turn signal. Fucking future.
So look, November 13th, the congressional hearing is going to happen. As we mentioned at the start of this conversation, the members of the committee, they're going to be asking questions that day. They've got a lot on their plate right now because of the hurricane damage, the election. But after the election, they can refocus on this. And I think they're going to ask some really good questions on that day and make some progress, I hope. I would just add one more thing. There's some project that you and I have been involved with for a while that has not been mentioned at all. It's a Netflix series, and it's going to be an announcement's coming out in the next day or so. It's something I've been working on for 16 months, which is why I missed some Weaponized episodes from coast to coast, a lot of stories for KLAS, but it's finally going to be coming out. It's a multi-part series. It is currently being edited and translated into 124 languages. They're supposed to have a trailer that's coming out tomorrow at the time we're recording this. And if it exists, or we have a copy of it, we'll run it right here.
Fucking mic drop. Crack the fucking microphone open. Did George Knapp just admit his secret project for over a year on Weaponized?
I did.
Oh, okay. You are admitting now, finally. So we're going to see some of your investigative journey, current modern day. Is there anything you can tell me right now that you saw, captured, anything weird?
Yeah, a UFO that becomes a USO. That's pretty spectacular stuff. Now, I've shared that with you. You've seen it, and it's pretty cool. And then Colares comes to mind, Mexico, Tampico, a lot of pretty cool stuff. Hopefully, we'll be able to share a lot more in the next episode of Weaponized. It was a lot of work went into this, a lot of travel, a lot of miles, and hopeful that it's going to be great.
So now we can say why we've only been doing a Weaponized about once a month, and now we're starting to speed up, and you can expect more from us. I want to say something about November 13th, but I do want to finish with this, which is that we have been throwing down as hard as we could with Weaponized for an entire year. And then this year, we've been doing it like about once a month or a little bit more. And now we're going to ramp up, and I hope we get to keep doing this together. It's so fun because I have a sense that we have barely scraped the surface of what you and I can report on visually to the public.
Immaculate Constellation is the beginning of a lot more to come.
Oh shit, did you just get the Netflix trailer texted to your phone?
I did.
So this is before it comes out a day.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you like it. All right, November 13th, here we are, okay? I want to talk about this real quick. There are bright-minded, really smart people that are motivated and honest brokers of information. They understand the need to protect sources, witnesses, and journalists. And they also, I believe, are fighting for the cause of true transparency to the American public. And just straight up from the names you've already said, the people from Nancy Mace, who's chairing it, from our friend Tim Burchett, from Representative Luna, everybody is really looking to do the best they can. This is going to be a powerful hearing, fingers crossed, but we need to, before November 13th, we need to protect whistleblowers. We need to protect witnesses. And I will say we have to protect journalists.
Agreed.
Including Schellenberger, who said that story.
Yeah, he's probably, there's a bullseye on him right now.
Straight up, there is.
I know there are a lot of folks who are calling Congress, calling their elected representatives to gripe and moan and share their opinions about this or that right now, leading up to the election. Keep in mind after the election, too, to let these folks know on this congressional committee, the folks who are pushing the ball down the field, that we support them,
Okay, awesome. Can we now watch your Netflix trailer? And can we share it on Weaponized? Okay.
All right.
Are we? And I'll dim this. And when you're ready, let's watch it like it's just TV.
You are what we would classify as a whistleblower.
Yes, that would be exactly what I am.
I want to be able to share this with the world. How can we help you break this story?
There is enormous amount of evidence to suggest that we do have a non-human intelligence interacting with us on this planet. We need to get beyond that obvious question, are UFOs real, to what really matters. Why are they here? And what do they want from us? We can handle it, can't we? My name is George Knapp. People know me as the UFO reporter. Last year, the Pentagon debuted Arrow to investigate the UFOs.
Arrow has found no evidence.
If they would go to such lengths to discredit this topic, it tells us we're going to have to do it ourselves. We need solid evidence, and we need it now. We've had some pretty dramatic UFO encounters all over the world.
Como se eu tivesse me queimado.
Wow.
Something weird happened to those bulls.
What happened in Phoenix was seen by thousands of people.
Federal agents were confiscating videos afterwards.
He said, as far as you're concerned, Lieutenant, it never happened. We are not alone.
The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Vemos una luz alrededor de la lancha. There will be some information that's going to be put out. It will shock the world.
The more we can bring out of the shadows, the closer we get to answers.
Boom. Hell, give me a high five. We're done.
Never have so few had so much to tell, but could say so little.